Think about what makes heaven so beautiful. Sweet Lord God and Savior. Oh, He's forever there shining. You know what makes that heaven so beautiful? Oh, His Son. Oh, the Son that came. Oh, He died on that old rugged cross for you and me. All that blood that flowed down His face. You think about that this morning. That whole wonderful. Oh, thank you this morning, all that he came. And he gave it so freely. Can you give anything so freely this morning? Can you just give away everything you have this morning? Can you give it away? That's what he did. He gave everything away for you and for me. Oh, and for nothing else but for you and for me. Oh, he gave that love freely this morning. Can you take everything off of your back this morning and give it away? Can you lay it down this morning? Can you lay down everything you have, all your money, all your clothes, and give it away? Can you just give it away? That's what he done for you and me. He gave it all away. Every dime he had. He's the king. He gave it all away. You think about that this morning. Can you lay down everything you have? Can you then lay it down this morning? That's what he did because of his great, great love. He didn't only do that. He did. He gave his life for your sin and for my sin. Well, glory, hallelujah. You think about that this morning. He did it all. You think about the shame that he gave this morning for you and for me, for mine. I think about mine this morning. Oh, well, glory, hallelujah. What a Savior we have. You think about, oh, I think about my sin this morning. I deserve hell. I don't deserve a Savior that died on that cross for me this morning. I think about what I've done in my life. And I think about what he gave for me. And man, he came down and he took on the human man for me this morning because he loved me so much. Can you do that? Can you take and give everything you have? You think about what you have this morning. He gave it to you. He gave it to you because of that love this morning. Oh, I don't deserve it this morning because I know what I've done. You know what you've done in this life? Think about it this morning, what you've done in this life. But he loved us so much. You think about heaven and what it's going to be. Oh, I think about that all the time and what he done for me. I don't deserve it this morning. Oh, but a Savior so loving that he gave it all. He gave it up. He gave up that crown. Oh, that crown of king. He gave up that beautiful heaven. And he took on a crown of thorns this morning. And that blood that flowed down. Oh, I praise him this morning. Oh, you think about what he's given you. He's given you peace. He's given you life. Oh, did you come here this morning with clothes on your back? Did you come here this morning with shoes on your feet? Oh, did you come here this morning with a belly full of food and a drink to drink? Well, glory, hallelujah. What he did for me. Well, glory. Can you sing his praises this morning because he saved you? And you're going to a place that's just so beautiful. Oh, his sun is going to shine forever. No more pain, no more sorrow. Well, glory, it puts a shine in my mouth this morning. Oh, well, glory, hallelujah. Oh, how I praise him. I can't praise him enough for that this morning. Oh, I just praise his holy, holy name. Oh, I couldn't say enough for him this morning.
Amen.
It's like Mark always said, if he took away everything that you didn't think you would, what would you have left? He's giving you everything you got. And I praise him, Mr. Mark, for what he means to me. He's my Savior, he's my friend. I love him. I couldn't make it without him. I don't have people get to love him. He's my best friend. He's great. I can talk to him anytime and every time. I'm always up. You have to call me and take it there. I'll tell you what you gotta say. It isn't yours. I can't listen. I know God's real. I love it. I praise him. I couldn't make it without him. I tell you that over and over. I tell you because that's the truth. You can't make it without God. You exist without God. We're there. Praise God. We're going. We've got heaven on our mind. And one day for a while, we just stop and move on that. They might be looking at that. It can't be. Because they've been along this country. They didn't get to act. They did not know. You don't know the truth. We don't even know that we'll live before the age of preaching. We don't know. I'll tell you, I know there's a Savior that loves me to save us up. Praise Holy Weakness. I love it. It is wonderful. Oh, I can't thank God for the big blessings He gives me. I love it. It is so precious. It's just wonderful. I think about people that don't have God. You have dads. What do? You got nobody to talk to. You got dads. You got God. You got somebody you can talk to that knows what you need. I love God. I couldn't imagine when Jim passed away. I couldn't for God. When Rick passed away, oh, these are sudden deaths. And I ain't figured out what you think. A sudden death or watching somebody die. Those are real sick. I'm going through that trail. And I just ask you to pray for us. Don't pray that she wants to. Don't do it. She don't want that. But she don't have to go anytime. I miss the work and spend time with her. Because God said, go surely. One of these days, you always be home with me. Oh, you know, we have after you tell you all the rest of the with us. We'll never part. We just go over to be with the Lord. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to lie down. I'm going to thank him for his done for me. Why? I want to see it first of all. And I know my love was so waiting for me. Little Bible said, Shirley, come on. His power, power, and his tongue, his blood. I just praise God. He's so wonderful. Thank you for everything you do for me, God. I could not thank you without you. You're so precious. I just thank you for that. Just pray for Shirley. She's off tomorrow. And I know what that is. I miss it. It's so good to have some great little girls like this. I miss y'all. And I love it. And I just like, oh, like he's doing for us. Sitting as a five, trying to God, everybody says, fine. Ain't not how to do it. We didn't do it. God's in control. They have not healed. He worked it out. I think, well, I just want to praise God. He's good. Go ahead. He just wonderful. I tell you what, when you got God in your heart, you got everything you need. You don't need nothing else. I don't need anything else. I think I do. No, I got God. He lives. I know there's a God. I tell you what, nobody can tell me anything different than that. That's Christ. It's Holy Spirit. He's wonderful. He's worthy to be praised. Like I said, you just can't count your blessings because you have so much you don't even know about. I just praise you. Thank you. Great. Thank you.
You're not deceased. I tell you what, if you never Jesus, I couldn't never thank you. But I tell you what, he is just really sort of with me and help me. He threw the hands. And I thinking about it, you know. Oh gosh, it's so terrible. But you know what? Jim was having a good time up there. And here I am there, you're crying. But he wouldn't want me to be a crying. But you know, I do. But I just want to thank God. That's what I'm saying. I thank God for heaven beyond these days. You know, it's been about 2 years that we really had a struggle. But God is great. And God is what has helped me every day. And you all have helped me so much this year. I just looked at the little cabinet there yesterday, and all of those cards. I haven't even but the cards that you always pray for me. And about the sadness that I have of Jim said that God that it nothing compared to what he can do for us. And Lord, David and Shelley, they help me. I couldn't forget that, but God has done it all. He's the one. And thank you, each and every one of you out there. And thank God that we've got us a nice. You know, we need his ass so bad. There we go. So thank God for that. Thank God.
Anyone else? Is there another?
God certainly gave me a fine family when he invited me to this church here. I don't know what I'd do without you all. Thank you very much.
Is there another?
I want to thank the Lord for answered prayers. Thank you for everyone that prayed for me the last couple weeks. It was touch and go there for a little bit. But I just want to praise the Lord that Daddy he shielded Dad through this. And back when I had COVID, he shielded Dad through that. I'm just really thankful.
Anyone else?
Pray for the lost in my family.
What's the other one?
Pray for the lost in my family. Mommy.
Boy, ain't you glad you got out of bed this morning? Good enough, baby. Good enough to get out of bed. I know we get tired sometimes and we get wore down a little bit, but thank God we got up this morning. There are some today that would trade places with you in a heartbeat. There are some that are bedridden, or some that are shut in that can't get out today. They would have traded places with you just like that. Would have loved been in the house of God just to come and worship you and serve you one more time. There are people today that would just have loved to have come in here. So I tell you this, you are here. So I say this, come in with that one thought in your mind to worship the Lord. Come in with one mind and one accord, and that's what we're supposed to do every time we cross through doors. Yeah, the world gets heavy, and that's all right. We're fighting through. But we need to come in with the thought in our minds that we're going to lift the Lord up and give Him praise and glory and honor. And I tell you something about that. Whenever you get that on your mind 100% and you really get that centered in your thoughts, you'll see the power of God move like you've never seen Him move before. And you may say, well, the shout's out unorthodox. There ain't nothing unorthodox about a shout. You can say, I'm going to shout. Well, then you need to shout. If God tells you to do something, you need to do it. Why? Because that may just be the one thing that sparks the entire church and get lifted up in the Lord. You see, that's how important it is to be obedient unto God. The Bible says that obedience is better than sacrifice. If you ain't never shouted and you want to shout, ask God to give you a shout. If you ain't had a burden in a while and you've lost your burden, ask God for that burden, He'll give it back to you. I'm going to tell you something right now. If you ask God, God's faithful. He'll take care of you. He'll give you that which you seek and want. And I tell you what, He'll give it to you even more because it's to give Him glory and honor. He said you receive not because you ask not. He said, but when you do ask, you ask amiss. And that asking amiss is asking for ourselves. Not so much for ourselves, but for our own lifting up. But when you ask God for something to give Him glory and honor, I'm telling you right now, that's whenever God really moves. And if we come in here as a church, there's more here. I'm learning new names and new faces. You bear with me. We've been going all week. My voice is going in and out, but you just bear and pray with us. But there's some here that haven't been here that I've seen, and I thank God for you being here. We welcome you here. If you're regular, glad to see you back. If you're not regular, glad to see you. I thank God for you coming to be with us. But let's lift the Lord up this morning, folks. Let's give Him glory and honor and praise. And I'm going to tell you something. He'll come down and be with us. Says, where there's two or three gathered in my name, there will be in the midst of them. And I want to tell you something, there's more than two or three here this morning, so we better have Him on our minds and willing to worship Him in the way that He wants us to worship Him. But I thank God again for another opportunity to come into His house. We missed y'all Wednesday. We were in revival, but it was harder on me than what I realized it would have been. But there's something about it, I couldn't help but it broke my heart a little bit to be away. But God gave us the duty, and God told us to do it that way, so that's what we did. But you keep praying, of course, we're going on into revival Monday night. But thank God for everything that He's done today. And does anybody have a testimony before we go any farther forward? Anybody else that needs to do anything that the Lord has told you to do? If not, if you'll turn to 1 Samuel chapter number 30. First Samuel chapter number 30. The Bible says, and it came to pass, when David and his men were come to Ziklag on the third day, that the Amalekites had invaded the south in Ziklag, and smitten Ziklag, and burned it with fire, and had taken the women captive that were therein. They slew not any, either great or small, but carried them away and went on their way. So David and his men came to the city, and behold, it was burned with fire, and their wives and their sons and their daughters were taken captives. Then David and the people that were with him lifted up their voice and wept, until they had no more power to weep. And David's 2 wives were taken captive, Ahinoam and Jezreelites, and Abigail, the wife of Nabal, and the Carmelite. And David was greatly distressed, for the people spake of stoning him, because the soul of all the people were grieved, every man for his sons and for his daughters. But David encouraged himself in the Lord his God. And David said that Abiathar the priest, Ahimelech's son, I pray thee, bring hither the ephod. And Abiathar brought thither the ephod to David. And David inquired of the Lord, saying, Shall I pursue after this troop? Shall I overtake them? And he answered, Pursue, for thou shalt surely overtake them, and without fail recover all. So David went, and he and the 600 men that were with him came to the brook Besor, where those that were left behind stayed. But David pursued, he and 400 men, for 200 above behind, which were so faint that they could not go over the brook Besor. And they found an Egyptian in the field and brought him to David, and gave him bread, and he did eat, and they made him drink water. And they gave him a piece of a cake of figs and 2 clusters of raisins. And when he had eaten, his spirit came again to him, for he had eaten no bread nor drunk any water 3 days and 3 nights. And David said unto him, To whom belongest thou, and whence art thou? And he said, I'm a young man of Egypt, servant to an Amalekite. And my master led me, because 3 days agone I fell sick. We made an invasion upon the south of the Cherethites, and upon the coast which belongs to Judah, and came upon the south of Caleb, and we burned Ziklag with fire. And David said to him, Canst thou bring me down to this country? And he said, Swear unto me by God that thou wilt neither kill me, nor deliver me into the hands of my master, and I will bring thee down to this country. And when he had brought him down, behold, there were spread abroad upon all the earth, eating and drinking and dancing, because all the great spoil that they had taken out of the land of the Philistines, and out of the land of Judah. And David smote them from the twilight evening until the evening of the next day. And there escaped not a man of them, save 400 young men, which rode upon camels and fled. And David recovered all that the Amalekites had carried away, and David rescued his 2 wives. And there was nothing lacked to them, neither small nor great, neither son nor daughter, neither spoil nor anything that had been taken of them. David recovered all. And David took all the flocks and the herds which were great before him, before those other cattle, and said, This is David's spoil. And David came to the 200 men, which were so faint that they could not follow David, whom they had made also to abide in the brook of Besor. And they went forth to meet David, and to meet the people that were with him. And when David came near to the people, he saluted them. Then answered all the wicked men of the men of Belial, of those that went with David, and said, Because they went not with us, we will not give them aught of the spoils that we have recovered, save to every man his wife and his children, that they may lead them away and depart. Then said David, Ye shall not do so, my brethren, with that which the Lord hath given us, who hath preserved us, and delivered the company that came against us in our hands. For who will hearken unto you in this matter? But it is as his part is that goeth down to battle, so shall this part be that tarrieth by the stuff. They shall part alike. And it was so from that day forward that he made a statute and an ordinance for Israel unto this day. And that's all we're going to read this morning, unless God gives us something else. And I know that was quite a bit of reading, but I needed to fully get to cover exactly what was going on here. And how that these men, that whenever they had come, and you got to remember something, that David had been staying over in the Philistines area at this time, right before this, And the time had come that one of the men come to him, and he was a leader or a voice for the Philistines, and they told that they didn't want David with them no more. They said, what if we go down here to battle and he become to be our adversary? And David had been on the run from Saul for quite some time here. And whenever this man came to David, he told him to leave. And David left. He found himself down there in Ziklag where it had been burned and everything had been tore up, and they had taken their wives, they had taken everything that they had, and they took off them, like I said, and they run with it. And what they found themselves going is the Lord told them to go and take it over, that they would have victory over these men of the Amalekites. How that whenever they got going down through there, they came to the brook of Besor. And at that brook of Besor, they found that there was 206 that could not go no farther, that they were so tired that they were beat down and wore out. They were tired of going farther forward. They were so faint that they were weak, and they got so worried down that they couldn't go any farther. And the other 400 went on to fight the battle. And I tell you, as I was thinking this morning on what to preach on and what the Lord would have us to preach, I got to thinking about being that down and beat down that you just don't want to go on. Well, sometimes we as Christians want to get beat down, so we get beat down, but we don't want to go on. Sometimes the battles get too strong that we just want to sit down and say, I want to stay right here for a little while. Well, that's all right, because sometimes we get tired and we need to sit for a moment and take a breath. Sometimes when we're going about our days, we need to sit down and get a breath of fresh air and say, okay, I just want to enjoy this for a moment. Let my legs rest, let my body rest, let my mind get at ease. Well, that's okay. Why? Because there's other men and women beside you that should be willing to go further forward for you and keep fighting the battle for you to be able to lift you up whenever you feel down. See, we are supposed to be in this together. This ain't a single person fighting a battle. This is a group of people that should love the Lord with everything inside of them, that's willing to fight no matter what comes, and being willing to lift up that one that's being beat down. We should be willing to let them rest so we can reach over when we find the spoil. When we find the victory, we can be able to reach over and pick them up and let them rejoice with us in the victory that we won. We don't need to beat other people down. Why? Because they're tired. We're supposed to be there to lift them up, to give them strength and encouragement in a time of trouble, to help them out whenever they feel beat down. I'm going to tell you, this old flesh gets tired sometimes. It don't want to go no further forward sometimes. But those that are going on in front of us should be our ones that should come back and help us lift up, to show us that there's spoils around the corner, there's victory around the corner, to help us keep fighting that fight that's ahead of us. You may be beat down, you may feel tired in body, but don't get tired in spirit, because there's still people here today that are fighting that fight ahead of you. They're still fighting for you, they're still fighting for the Lord, they're still fighting for themselves. Well, we're just going to keep on fighting. Why? Because the victory's just ahead of us. You may be down there and be sore, you may be sitting at the brook, but guess what? There's still some ahead of you that's fighting a battle that's going to come back with the spoils and pick you up. Don't let it beat you down that you think you're done. We was driving up the road this morning. I said, man, I need you to look up something for me. So she starts looking this up. And I said, I need you to look up about these eagles and how what they do whenever they start getting beat down. See, there's something about eagles. Eagles have this personalities and these things that are so fascinating if you get to studying on them. But I needed a reminder of how this went. So whenever an eagle gets to an age and it starts getting older, and it starts going down, and it starts getting tired, and its wings and its feathers start molting, and they start losing their feathers, and their beak starts getting this calcium built up on it, and that they just don't feel no more that they want to go on. Their head gets so heavy that it hangs down low. They can't lift it up no more. Why? Because the calcium that builds up on it. Well, the thing about it is they get in a depressed state. They get in a state of being in depression, and they don't want to go no farther forward. They won't sit there if they don't get up and move, but they'll sit there and die. But they got to get moving at some point. But they got to beat down that they don't want to go no farther. They get beat down that they don't want to move no more. on. And that's the trouble. Those eagles got down there, and they got down in that valley where they ended up. They ain't up on the mountaintop. They're down there in the valley. Anytime you see an eagle, most of the time, whenever it's feeling good, it's sitting perched up in a tree. It's up there looking around, and it's absorbing energy. But that's what the thing happens. When that eagle gets down, he gets beat down, he gets wore out, and he goes down there and he gets in the valley, and that's where he stays. He'll stay down there till he dies if you don't get to moving. But here it is, there's something about it. Them other eagles, the older ones that it says, not the younger ones, the older ones that have already went through this and survived, what they'll do is they'll get up there and they'll start flying around that eagle, and they'll drop food down to it, trying to give it a little nourishment to keep going. They'll drop little morsels of meat down there so that eagle can eat and survive. It'll drop little food down there so they can get a little warmth there, a little bit of food in its belly to build its strength up. And the one thing that really fascinates me is that eagle, whenever it's beaten down, it'll find itself over to a rock so that the sun can shine down on it and give it warmth. Well, I'm going to tell you something. We let the world beat us down, we let the world tear us apart, and we just get tired. You ever just been tired and tired? You just been so tired you just wanted to sit still. Well, it's all right. You sit still for a moment. Let the others fight the battle for you. Let the others go further forward. But I'm going to tell you, you got to get moving sooner or later. You don't want to sit there so long that you die. You don't want to sit there so long that your face, you get so heavy that your head hangs low. But that eagle, after a while, it starts sitting in that sun. That's where you need to get. You need to get sitting in the sunlight. I ain't talking about the S-U-N. I'm talking about the S-O-N. Start getting in there with the Lord, praying to Him, talking to Him, and that morsel of meat will grow inside that belly. Next thing you know, your wings will start flapping. You'll start moving. You may have let it be sore down there for a little while time. But if you give the Lord glory and start trusting in Him, He'll lift you up. You'll see the spoils of the victory. You'll see the other ones coming back from war. Hey, I'm telling you right now, don't sit down there so long as you die. But come out and you'll find glory. You'll find help. But here those eagles, they get down there sitting, and they'll sit down there. They will. They'll sit down there until they just don't have nothing left. Or they just get tired. They just lay down there. And that calcium, like I said, it builds up on that beak. And that beak, it gets so heavy that it just keeps bringing them farther and farther down. See, we get to bring them farther and farther down, John. We start doing this. We get tired. We get tired. Everybody looks at us like, what's wrong with him? Look at that sour-looking thing. No, we're just tired. Ain't nothing sour about it. We're just tired. We just can't lift your head up sometimes. Hey, that's all right. Because with the Bible, yeah, I'm telling you, a lot of times you'll hear me stand before you and say, you just keep on moving. Praise God, you keep moving. You don't stop and lay down and say, I'm done. That little eagle, or that older eagle, it just kept on moving. See, that's the trouble today, is we see the young ones come in, they got all the rejuvenated energy, they got all the strength, they got this movement and running, and as the older ones go, well, you've been in this for a little while. When you sometimes get tired, you sometimes get worn down, you let them young ones fight the battle, and let them other ones take care of you. Let them bring you the morsel of meat when you feel beat down. They just let the Lord take care of you, and He will. See, His yoke is easy, His burden's light. We try to make it heavier than what it is. We try to make it weigh us down. It ain't going to weigh you down if you really understand that it's easy on you. Why? Because He will bear that burden with you. If you feel beat down and tired, you just lean on the Lord. You eat that morsel of meat. You get in the sunlight with Him, and you'll get that strength back that you once had. They lay down, though, and they get tired. They get that hung down. We all get tired. And somebody asked me today, I said, I guess you're getting tired, ain't you? Well, yeah. This body's tired. But this spirit that's down inside of me, it ain't tired yet. It ain't tired yet. We're still going forward and forward. We're still going forward for the Lord. Why? Because of those ones that's behind us that are young that haven't seen it yet. And for those ones that's behind us that's seen it all, we're trying to help them out too. We're trying to get that morsel of meat tossed down to them so that they can get that energy back, so they can keep on moving, so they can get back up in the air and start flying around again. They can get up there and start soaring for themselves. Say, that old eagle, he can soar and never flap his wings. He can just keep leaping circles and never come down. That's what we got to do. We got to get back up in the air, start flying around, soaring around, and seeing the goodness of God. See, Jesus himself even got tired. You say, where at, preacher? Well, he came down to Samaria, didn't he? What did he say? Said he was tired, didn't he? Said he sat down on that well to take a rest. How many times did he go up into the wilderness trying to get away from everybody for a little bit to get his breath? Why? Because he was tired. He was flesh, folks. He was man. He was just like us. He had his times when he'd get tired. And he'd go up there and he'd sit. And I think about that, him sitting down there on that well. How that he was sitting there. He knew why he was there. He knew why he was there, but the prettiest thing, I heard a man preach one time talking about Jacob's well. And he said, you know, Jacob was out there, he was a well builder, is what Jacob was. And he was out there building that well. As he worked on it, he said the Lord was telling him how to put them stones. And he said, I think about it. He said, the Lord telling him, well, Jacob, you just put that stone right like that. You put that stone just like that. And he said, the more I think about it, I get to thinking about Jesus going down there to Jacob's well in Samaria. And he sits down on that stone and be like, yeah, that's just where Jacob, I told you to put that stone. That's exactly how I wanted it, the comfort of it. He went down there for a rest, but he didn't quit working. He knew that there was something in front of him, and it was that woman that was coming down from the city. That woman, but she was coming down there by herself. Most women at the time would have came together. They all came in a group to get the water so they could help one another. But here this woman was, she was all by herself. Nobody seemed to think nothing of her. Nobody seemed to care about her. I don't know exactly why, but I know that it was because of a few things. But Jesus looked at her and he said, give me something to drink, some water to drink. And she said, how do you get drink out of there without a well or without a bucket? He said, you can give me the drink. And as she said, talk to him there, she come to find out that he was the man that had the living water, that well of water that springs up in everlasting life, that water that gives us life, that will never thirst again, that well of water. See, she come down there, beat down to the law. He told her to go and get her husband. She said, I have no husband. He said, they've answered truthfully. You've had 5 husbands. And I want her with now is not your husband. But she went back to the city and she said, come see a man that told me all the things that ever I did. And as they come to hear about it, they met this man that would give them a drink of water. See, that girl had been beat down. That woman of Samaria may be all along. But guess what? She got there under the well and she got her a drink. And I'm telling you right now, that drink got her through. That drink lifted her up. I'm telling you, if you're beat down today and you feel like nothing's going good, you feel like you're buying on something you can't win, just let the Lord have it and he'll give you that drink. Get out there in the sunlight and bathe for a little while and you'll get some strength to you. God's able. Lord, take care of you, won't he? John said today, he said, if God be for us, who can be against us? If God be for us in Romans, who can be against us? We look out there so often and we see the troubles. And we look out and we get tired. And we start thinking, boy, I'm just tired. Sure. I'm just tired. I'm just tired. Woke up this morning and thought, boy, I'm just tired. Work all day, all week. You know what I'm talking about. Going to work all week. You just get tired. 5 all week, you just get tired. The struggles of family. You know, I say work, I'm talking about all of it. You know what it's like. Man, God bless her heart. She leaves me home with kids for an hour, I lose my mind. She's taking 10 and 12 on all day. I know what you're going through sometimes. You're going through battles. You're going through hard times. You found yourself down there in Besor at the brook and you just don't feel like going no farther forward. But if you just trust the Lord and just realize that there's people still fighting the fight ahead of you, and guess what? They're going to bring you a spoil if you just hang on. Don't you sit down there so long that you die. Don't you sit down there so long that you just lose your fight. See, that eagle gets down there and he sits there. But I want to tell you one thing that was really interesting. I don't know if I've already said it or not. But that eagles that bring the morsel of meat, it was talked about in it, and it said it wasn't the young ones always, but it was the older ones. And you know what? The funny thing about them eagles that was circling around dropping that morsel of meat, they had already been through it. They had been through what this eagle was going through at this moment. They had already suffered the loss of their families and the meat starting to calcify. They had already seen what it was like. But they had shown one thing, that if you don't stay in the valley, if you come out, if you get some flesh, if you get some strength to you, and look up and trust in the Lord, He'll bring you back up and out of where you're at. He's able to lift you up out of the pits you brought yourself down to. But that well of water, see that water that He gives? See, it's a well of water that springs up in everlasting life. It's a well of water that sometimes God will bubble up inside of you, and every once in a while will come out of you. See, there's something about being with Jesus is that if you spend enough time with Him, you can't hide that He's your friend. You spend enough time with the Lord, you can't hide it. You look at old Peter. He tried his best to deny Him. He was trying his best to deny Him. He said, I don't know Him. I ain't with Him. Well, I said, oh yeah, you're with Him, ain't you? No, I'm not with Him. And as he stood by the fire, the maiden came up. She said, thy speech betrayeth thee. You're one of His. And as he cursed and went out, but see, the thing was, as sad as that story is, it shows me something. You spend enough time with the Master, you're going to be noticeable whenever people walk up to you. It ain't going to be something you can hide. It ain't going to be something you can cover up. It'll be safe. Well, how do I get out of this valley, Daniel? How do I get down there on that rock and start letting the sun shine down on me? How do you do that? Well, I have to get down on these bending knees. Get down to my prayer life. I believe in praying more than what the Bible says, the effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. The Bible also says to pray without ceasing. The Bible is telling me that prayer life is more important than anything else in this world. That my prayer life is more important than the TV, that my prayer life is more important than my cell phone, that my prayer life is more important than my job. Hey, I'm going to tell you something, and you're going to get mad at me. My prayer life is more than my family. Why? Because there's the reason that I got my family. Because the God I serve, I can call on at Him at any time, and when these babies get sick, you know the first thing we're doing? We're praying, asking God to take care of them. Why? Because He is the one that can. He's the one that's able. But you're here today and you let the world beat you down, that your prayer life comes back up. Well, you just get up there on the rock and start letting the sun shine down on you, and you'll get lifted up out of that valley. Get down there and be sore. That's where the men were. They were tired. They were tired. They had run and fought and carried on till they were just done. So faint they couldn't go no farther. Are you there this morning? Have you got in that state of mind this morning that you feel like, Daniel, I'm just tired. Daniel, I need to sit still for a moment. Daniel, I just need to have a moment just to sit still, and that's all right. That's perfectly fine. It's okay to sit still for a moment. It's okay to do what you need to do and have a moment of rest. It's okay to have moments whenever you need to just sit. But I'm going to tell you something. If you sit there too long and you don't take the morsel of meat that the Lord sent your way, if you don't find a deal that can help you, you'll find yourself dying and not able to get back up. If you're here this morning and you need help, come pray. I'm going to tell you something. I asked this before and I'll ask it again. If a woman's up here, women, come pray if you're able. Men, if there's a man up here praying, come pray with this man if you're able. Don't slack on this. Why? Because this is exactly what I'm preaching this morning. Lift them up. Help them. Because you're maybe the one that's able to help them more than anybody else. It's important. Mark, you care to play. I'm going to give up to you. You come pray if you need to pray. Are you tired? Are you wore out? Come pray with the Lord give you strength. I'm going to ask you to play whatever He feels like playing, sing whatever He feels like singing. I'm not going to say much more. I believe the Lord said that. I believe He's telling me I'm done. But I'm going to tell you, you can try to go home. You can try to fight alone. In the state that you're in, when you're beat down like this, you need that help from somebody. You need that touch from the Lord. And sitting down there in the valley and not eating of the meat, and not getting to the sun, not waiting on them to come to the spoils. The Bible says to stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. He can bring you out of the state that you're in. Are you tired of being tired? The Lord will give you strength. The Lord will lift you up. Just come pray. It's up to you. You can walk out of here in the same state that you came in. 0 plus 0 equals 0. You want a change? If you don't do something to get the change, you're not going to get a change. Go on the same pattern. Go on the same pattern. It's just going to take you the same way. But if you want a true change, if you're tired of being tired, come pray and ask the Lord to give you strength. Thank y'all for being out here this morning. Do ask that you come back tonight if you have an opportunity, come back and be with us. Buy some